We spent $6,000 to go to Aesthetic Next, one of the biggest aesthetic shows in the space, and we're going to give you our full honest thoughts and feedback, how it went, what things that we loved about it, what things we didn't like so much. But just to give a quick introduction, I'm Chris, this is Victoria. We both own Optimize Aesthetics together and built Skin by You, our esthetician business, to over 6 figures in just a few years here in Arizona, and we've built a very large brand on social media. But I want to jump into Dallas. The first thing I want to talk about is why it was so expensive for us. It's probably some good context that people are like, how did you spend so much money to go to an aesthetic show? And it's because we bring our whole family. Mm-hmm. We bring both of our kids, and we also brought our team member this time to kind of give us a hand with the kids and then also experience the show with us, mostly because we have our event coming up in February of next year, and we wanted us all to kind of be together and see what things we loved and didn't love so much about Dallas not Dallas, but Aesthetic Next. Before we jump all the way into, I do want to mention that we weren't able to film during our baby's nap today. So if she pops in, we're just going to kind of roll with it today. This one will be a much more personal podcast than we do sometimes. Sometimes we get really right to the point and just try to dump as much info as we can. But this one will be kind of loosely talking about the show and might have a guest appearance of our 2-year-old daughter.
I know this one will be fun for you guys to see what our life is actually like 24/7, because having a toddler is just such a different, oh my gosh, it's such a different world. Our 8-year-old son's almost 9 now, and he's self-sufficient. He can just watch a movie or, by himself. Yeah. But anyways, this experience of going to Aesthetic Next was really awesome to just see how a huge conference runs like that. And I was really excited to learn from a big event that's so successful. I think that there was over 2,000 people at this event. And it was really cool to see what I loved about it and what I wanted to imply for our event in February and for future events, and just what I didn't like about it. Maybe some things that I feel like could have been a little better. It's definitely more of an Aesthetic Next is built out more for injectors, the med spa space, but there's such a opportunity for estheticians there. I think that the biggest group that was there were people who worked at med spas that had the opportunity to go because they brought their esthetician. So I think it's still an amazing event, but it was really cool to just see how everything operated. And why it was so expensive is because, we bring our whole family, and we rented a beautiful Airbnb while we were there. We like to take these work trips as opportunities to take the whole family, because it teaches our kids what we do and just the worth ethics and just how everything runs. And to be honest, I love, I love certain trips, but we haven't gone on like any trips without the kids. And it's just really important to me to be with the family. We always say we're family owned and operated, so we don't take that lightly. I mean, I do wish that we had a little bit more babysitting, help with taking advantage of going to certain, to connect a little bit more. That would be a quote unquote downside to bringing the kids, is like you have to have dedicated babysitting time. But yeah, it was such a really cool experience overall. And again, our Airbnb, if you guys didn't see on Instagram, it was absolutely stunning. It had a pool, and the bathroom area was so amazing to get ready in the morning. The shower felt so nice. There was a bathtub in there. So yeah, there's just so much that goes into these trips. And, obviously, if you guys have been following our story, we also hired on our first employee. So that's a huge another expense for the trip. Yeah,
one more thing. I want to go back a little bit of like how it came to be, why we went to Aesthetic Next. So I think, going the earliest way back, about a year ago, maybe a little bit less, maybe right around a year ago, Tiffany Hall, who is one of the people who runs the Aesthetic Next event, and she, I think, is like the CMO or that's the growth officer for Aesthetic Record, which is the company that powers Aesthetic Next. And we had the opportunity, we have a friend, Jared, that does our website, who's very close with Tiffany, and he mentioned our name to her before. And her team posted that they were looking for people to come onto our podcast. And I applied for you to go onto her podcast. And because she knew the name, because of Jared, it was a pretty easy connect. And they said yes. And we had the opportunity, or you had the opportunity to go on her podcast. So that's kind of like where it all started. And like I said, that was a little bit over a year ago now. So when it comes to, I think it's maybe 3 or 4 months ago, we reached out to Aesthetic Record to see if they wanted to sponsor our event in February. And so we reached out, asked them, we kind of had a little bit of negotiations and we're talking a little bit. And then I think because we got on a call and talked to them or you sparked up in their memory, Tiffany decided to invite you to come and speak at Aesthetic Next this year. So that's kind of like where it all started. Mm-hmm. And I think they initially had you on 2 different engagements. And then also we reached out to Hydrofacial around that time also for a sponsorship for the event. They are our platinum sponsors for the aesthetic experience. And when you connected with the event coordinator or that runs the events for Hydrofacial, she was like, hey, are you going to Aesthetic Next? We'd love for you to speak with us while we're there as well.
Yeah.
So it turned into, we got 3 speaking engagements. And the reason why I want to tell that story is that we haven't really talked about it too much, but it all came really from outreach, right? Mm-hmm. It came from our outreach. We didn't, we're a bigger name in the space. This podcast does pretty well. We have Optimized Aesthetics. But if you just sit back, you're not like, things don't just fall in your lap. Yeah. Opportunities don't just, some do, but most of them you need to go and pursue and find. And it's cool to look back at if we didn't reach out, like if we didn't have our own event, it opened up the doors to get invited to do a bigger event.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that. And just to clarify, it's so true that you really have to be assertive and put yourself out there, because if Chris never, it's so funny because I didn't even see the post. If Chris never applied for me to be on that podcast, I would have never been introduced to Tiffany. And, after we spoke on the podcast, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to even be at Aesthetic Next. And then even with the Hydrofacial, us putting together our own event has brought so many new opportunities. Of course, not everybody can do that. That's like, years of building, but the connections that brought to then, somebody going to the same exact event, which is crazy. And just making sure that you're always reaching out and seeing ways that you can really assert yourself in certain positions. Because again, if I would have just sat back, I would have just been there. And our event coordinator too, the reason why, not our event coordinator, the event coordinator for Hydrofacial, she loved what we were doing so much that she asked if I wanted to be on the Hydrofacial advisory board. So
yeah, that's another one that all opened up because of it as well.
All these 3 connections. If you can prove to people that you have the concept, right, mm-hmm. that you are doing something big in the aesthetic space and you're being an impact, and that's mm-hmm. always our goal, is to be the biggest resource for estheticians and to have true valuable resources, because not everybody's going to have that. There's definitely a gap in the aesthetic space when it comes to that.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the advisory board is such a cool thing too, because we've loved Hydrofacial forever. We've done a ton of deals with them, brand deals, and partner with them in a lot of ways. But the advisory board only happened because we started communication with them about our event.
Yeah.
And then you said yes. Oh, they also asked you to do the webinar. We said yes. Also a very important thing too, to say yes to a lot of things. And this Aesthetic Next was a very big, expensive ordeal. You went out to lunch or you went to dinner with Hydrofacial and their team. We planned the trip. The trip got a little bit bigger, needed more outfits. Mm-hmm. So it cost a lot more to add those things in. But it was so beneficial, right? And the connection that we made, and being there and meeting them in person, meeting Carrie in person with Hydrofacial, or Tiffany with Aesthetic Record. Tiffany, by the way, is just an absolute monster. She's an amazing person. She's so kind. She's extremely successful. She runs a team of like 50 or 60 out in Dallas. She's one of those people that I told you I met her before you. Actually, no, you met her on the podcast first, but I met her in person when she came out here for another event. And I was like, Victoria, we got to talk to Tiffany. Mm-hmm. Like, she's just such an inspiring person to be around. She's such a good leader. She's so innovative. She never misses a detail. Yeah. Like, everything needs to be perfect. She takes criticism extremely well. What are you doing? I'm actually, we only do this on YouTube. I was going to say, if you're watching this, you can't see our babies here, but it's only on YouTube. But yeah, so I think that was all amazing. So going back to Dallas, let's talk about some of the things that we loved about it. Like you mentioned, their esthetician track is not not perfect yet. I think it's good, but it needs a lot of work still.
Yeah.
They're just introducing more of the aesthetics, or for estheticians, I mean. And I think that it's not fully perfect for an esthetician to go for the weekend and I think have that much value in it. I think one of the biggest values is to be around some of these industry leaders. I think going and listening to other speaking engagements, even if it doesn't directly correlate, if an injector is talking about building business, that's extremely valuable as an esthetician to go and listen to just hear how they do things. And I think as a business owner, one skill I think a lot of people don't have is being able to hear things that doesn't, like, it's not specifically about them and their business type, but you can take that and apply it to you and your business. Even if it's not specifically, they're talking about injectables instead of skincare, right?
I mean, I was really intrigued. I was listening to somebody speaking before we went on the podcast panel, and it was just so intriguing just hearing how other people speak. That's something that I'm trying to perfect, and having more opportunities. I want to learn, I want to be the best that I can be, and just hearing other people speak is such a skill. So I try to listen to other people. And then there's a lot of business tracks. I'm actually going back now and watching a lot of stuff that I missed virtually because we brought the kids. So yeah, there's a lot on business for sure.
Yeah.
If you're a med spa, a great resource. I think that as the years continue to go on, the esthetician space for that will become bigger.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's more so catered towards somebody who works for a med spa, because if you're a solo esthetician, I do think that there's way different principles for your business. When it comes to marketing and, business tools or how you sell skincare, because if you have a huge team versus a solo esthetician, it's completely different, right?
Different strategy.
There's different models, and not that one is better or one is right and wrong, but it's just a completely different method. And I think that's where we have hit the nail on the head with the solo esthetician community, is that I've worked for med spas, and I have obviously worked into my own business. And when you own your own business, you're in charge of everything, right? There's so many different ways that you are the leader, in your space, and you have to make executive decisions on your own, and true marketing materials that do work versus a med spa that might have thousands of dollars to put in ads every month. I do want to just touch really quickly on the investment in yourself. I think that is something that's really important to always think of. Is this event did not make us money. And just to be transparent with you guys, I was not paid to speak. Everything, I got complimentary tickets to go to this event. Such amazing opportunities, because this was like a $3,000 ticket, right? So the investment of me flying out there myself, getting an Airbnb, also bringing the kids, which was our personal decision. It just meant a lot for us, for our kids to be there. But the investment that you make in yourself is so important, and you don't always get an immediate reward. I could have said, okay, well, I don't want to pay money to, be there, but I would have never had if I didn't also invest in the aesthetic experience, I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I have right now. I wouldn't have gone to Aesthetic Next. I wouldn't have had the connect with Hydrofacial, to be on the advisory board. So just thinking about the investment that might not have an immediate return, but slowly but surely those puzzle pieces will start to connect, and endless opportunities. I had like 5 opportunities in 1 month, being on the advisory board, being on a webinar, having the speaking opportunity for Hydrofacial pop up, and then, one more panel while we were there. So there is just so much opportunity waiting for you. Even just having Hydrofacial as our platinum sponsor, I guarantee you that's why so many of these other brands said yes to us. So be patient. Sometimes you do have to make huge investments. Right now, just to be very transparent with you guys, alone, just decorations for our event is going to cost like $12,000.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of random, but just the concept, because that's something that we just paid, I was like, oh wow, this isn't just something that is like, oh, throw it together. We take pride in everything that we do. for you to be as big as you can be, you know, it does take investment.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another cool thing that maybe isn't talked about a lot at the big shows like that, but like I mentioned, the connections that you make, if you're trying to build a brand, if you're at a place as an esthetician where you want to step into the realms of speaking engagements or podcasting or coaching, any of these things that are kind of outside of the treatment room, going to an event like Aesthetic Next and just meeting people is incredibly inspiring. You have the best of the best in the industry there. So it's, you know, rooms like you feel good to be in. And for the most part, most people are there to make connections and meet people and are extremely friendly. So I think, you know, like if you're at a place in your career where you're like, okay, I have a fully booked med spa, I'm trying to take the next step. Or not a med spa, a business, and I want to take the next step. Like going there and meeting people. She's plucking all the little hairs off here, cleaning the microphone for us. But going there and meeting people and being around highly successful people, I mean, there's no amount of money that's like that you could say is that's worth, right? And for us to be around some of those people and meet them face to face, you know, we are building a very large brand and working on building a bigger brand, and showing up and showing face is just, it's, like I said, it's...
And doing something like different, I think, like always making sure that you're thinking outside of the box, always staying on your toes and not doing what everybody else is doing, because anybody could do anything, right? But like, how are you different in the industry? How are you asserting yourself? I mean, I've had a lot of questions of people saying, how do I get opportunities like that? And it's like, okay, well, they're not going to just fall in your lap. You really have to put yourself out there, do something, like I said, that's different in this space. I mean, even just us doing our high quality videos, at first it was not successful. And the more that we did it, the more that we were known for just high end quality content. And then as I've branched out, you know, opening up our, like going solo and then having our first event, you know, opening our Patreon and just being a resource for estheticians, it wasn't just overnight. And I think you guys just have to remember that. I feel like we got, I mean, I've been an esthetician for, oh my gosh, I can't even count now.
Well, this will be 9, so 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years now, almost 9. And I just like, it wasn't an overnight process. And, you know, even just going solo, I'm like, I feel like the reason why we had such fast, quote unquote, fast success, because it's like 3 years now, is because we took, you know, we made fearless choices. We really put our head down. And, you know, I remember when we were in our apartment and we were up till like 2 a.m. sometimes just making videos, shooting Patreon videos, and just shooting so much content when the kids were sleeping. I was exhausted. You know, I'm getting older now. I'm almost 29 and my back hurts. Like it's like I'll be 29 in 2 days and I'm like my back hurts. Like I'm just physically unwell from all the years and the hard work that we've put in.
Spent too much in the studio. Yeah, I think that
it's two babies.
It's fun to look back at. I mean, like you mentioned, those big risks that we've taken. We've done a lot of traveling. We've traveled with the family every time that we go. This year we did Florida, Dallas. We've done Dallas twice and Florida this year. And, you know, they're extremely expensive trips. I mean, most time we're getting a big Airbnb so we could shoot podcasts in the Airbnb itself, right? Why am I saying Airbnb so weird? What, you want a little sip? But yeah, and I think us taking those big investments are something that most people don't do. It's what separates us from everybody else. And, you know, we will continue to do that. We have a CFO now. He's going to be mad at us. He's going to look back at all the traveling and be like, what did you guys do? But for us, they were the information that we got, how we were able to grow our business when we got back from those trips, and the brand that it's created is just undeniable.
I feel like that the information and the investment that you make, you know, you might not get immediate profit or whatever return that you're trying to see, but I mean, we're a year now into everything, and it's just everything's slowly starting to come back and pay off, and just all this hard work is like, okay, finally we can like not take a step back, because it will never be able to take a step back in my opinion, but just enjoy life a little bit more. Just continue to pour into the resources that we currently offer, and just continue to grow our businesses. I mean, if you think about it, this is just the beginning. So I can't even thank you guys so much for being a part of our journey, because it's been such a long one. You know, these past few days, I feel like coming back from traveling, and then I literally worked 4 days back to back, and you know, this is my first quote unquote day off, and we're shooting a podcast, which I'm so happy to do. But just to be really transparent with you guys, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm like, you know, always wanting to put myself, you know, my best self first. And I just posted on my story yesterday that like I'm feeling the weight of just putting so much pressure on myself. And I think that a lot of, you know, business owners and moms can relate, because I'm a mom and I'm exhausted owning a business sometimes. And sometimes you don't want to show up. Sometimes you don't want to go and, you know, post that reel, or today, you know, maybe not do anything. Like I just want to relax, you know, but I know that the long-term gain of just pouring into the community is just so important. So again, thank you guys for listening to our podcast, your support, and just the amount of people that commented skincare from our last podcast. I'm like, this is so cool. Thank you guys so much for listening all the way through. That was a 50-minute podcast, and people listened all the way through, which is really cool to hear. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I mean, we never take it for granted of the kind of the community that we build and we're trying to build, and podcasts like this are fun. So if you are listening, it same thing this far in, we appreciate you. We know this one's a little bit more chatty than regular, and it's a little bit distracting with Adelina here going a little crazy.
I promise I do her hair, you guys. She just pulls it out if you're wondering.
And she woke up from a nap, don't worry. But yeah, so overall Aesthetic Next was great. We're just to kind of give you guys like a little bit of a behind the scenes. We do want to kind of pitch them to have kind of, hey.
Sorry, that was probably me.
But we want to pitch them that we can jump in there and help kind of create the esthetician track a little bit better, and help come up with I don't know, like we want to pitch them and be a part of it. We love what they're doing over there. We love that Tiffany cares about estheticians so much, and that she wants to invest in that side, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of the med spa industry turns their back on solo estheticians. What? But it's really cool that she does care and that she wants to pour into this side of the industry, and we want to make sure that she knows we want to be a part of it.
I think that's what, I mean, I think that there's more companies like, you know, wanting to pour into estheticians because there is such like a hole in the market for it. That's why we created our own event, because we're like, if nobody else can do it, let's do it ourselves. So, you know, I think that as the years go on, I think that people have actually been gaining a lot of respect for estheticians. I know that there's some, you know, I feel like there can be a division between dermatologists and estheticians, but like there's so much room for everybody to grow. Everybody has different methods. Everyone has different practices. So we're really excited to take our ideas to Tiffany and hopefully create another great resource for you guys. I mean, I met a lot of estheticians this weekend, and they were so sweet, so appreciative, just so hungry. And I think that the amount of estheticians who are out there that are just hungry and eager, you listening to this podcast being one of them. I mean, if you're listening, you're eager and you're hungry. So yeah, we're really excited for any future opportunities. Is there any other life updates that we have?
No, I want to kind of go over how that was. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this. Sorry about a little bit of a distraction with the baby today.
You want to say bye?
We are always going to show up here, and we do want to bring you guys into the journey in some ways too on this podcast. I know, you know, sometimes we get really businessy and really educated or educational oriented, but it's nice for us to kind of really express ourselves and have you guys get to see and hear some of the crazy ideas we have. And we don't like to talk too much because we want things to come to fruition first, and we hate to be just talkers. I want to be doers, but it is cool for you to watch our growth kind of from the inside and go, oh, I remember their first time at Aesthetic Next, and I remember them saying they wanted to get bigger and better and be more part of it, and you guys get to watch if that either happens or doesn't happen. But yeah.
Also, my back hurts, you guys. Ever since the car accident, I've been struggling, so I feel like I just looked like an old lady picking her up. I was like, ugh. Anyways, thank you guys so much for your support as always. We hope you didn't mind our real life today of the baby not napping. So She was a great guest episode. If you guys want to see more of her, make sure you comment below. If you listen all the way through, make sure you comment Adelina this time.
If you could spell it, try to spell it. Whoever spells it correct gets a like. Yeah. But, well, thank you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next podcast.
Bye.